Hi, I'm Henry, a driver instructor here at Schneider. Today, I'll be walking you through how to fill out a logbook as a truck driver. Before we get into filling out a logbook, I think it's important to first discuss what it is. A logbook is a record-keeping document that truck drivers use to track their time spent working and not working. Some of the key information you'll find on a logbook page includes the date. It's recorded at the top of the log page. We keep track of the time as well. Each log page covers a 24-hour period, which is divided by vertical lines. Each hour is printed across the top of the grid area, and each hour is broken down into 15-minute increments by short vertical lines. There are 4 horizontal rows in the grid area, and each row represents one of the 4 duty statuses a driver falls under. The 4 statuses are: Line 1, which includes all time a driver is not driving or performing other job-related duties. Line 2, which includes all time a driver spends in their sleeper berth. Remember that sleeper berth is a location, not an activity. Line 3, which includes all time a driver spends driving or sitting at the controls of a commercial motor vehicle. And Line 4, which includes all time a driver is doing non-driving work. The remarks section is where a driver records the city and state of each change in duty status. Along with the city and state, a driver also records specific information about what they were doing, such as a pre- and post-trip inspection, en route truck inspections, loading and unloading freight, changing trailers, and fueling their truck. So let's walk through entering one of these logs. First thing we're going to do is put today's date in, then your driver number, your initials, your signature, and in this case we don't have a co-driver, so we're going to put NA or not applicable, and Green Bay, Wisconsin happens to be the home operating center of this driver. So he's going to enter his tractor number, his trailer number, and in this case, at the end of the day, he doesn't have any other trailers. We're going to enter the shipper information for Don's Paper Company. The commodity is paper products, and we've got a load ID. Every company might be different, but that's what we do here at Schneider. NA, we didn't have any other load that day, so we put NAs for that. Let's get started on actually filling out the timeline. So we're going to put a little dot, and I've used red here just to help you see it a little bit better. But in this case, we've done it at 6:30, so he starts his day at 6:30 and draws a line from the left to the right to connect the dot. Then he's going to change his duty status from off duty in line number 1 to on duty on line number 4 and connect the lines. Because we changed duty status, we actually have to add a flag or a notation in the remarks section as to what we're doing and where we're doing it. So we're going to add a little 45-degree mark, add Green Bay, Wisconsin, and in this case he's doing a pre-trip and a TIV. TIV stands for Trailer Integrity Verification. He's going to do that pre-trip in half an hour, and then he's immediately going to put himself back up into the drive line. But before he can do that, he's got to mark the fact that he did not move the truck from when he started his day until just before he started driving. And we're going to do that with what's called a bracket. So if you watch that little bar on the bottom there get extended over to the left and create what basically looks like a cup, that's called a bracket. It just denotes the section of time where he didn't move the truck. Now we're going to go to drive. So he's simply going to put a dot up there, connect the line, and off he goes to drive. When he stops the truck, later on, he's got to stop and scale the load that he has. He's going to stop, go back to on duty, and in this case, we were in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin to do that scaling at a CAT scale. Spent a half an hour doing that. Maybe he stopped and got himself something to drink as well. So he's on duty. Now he's going to go back to driving. And we also bracketed that section so that we knew the truck didn't move in Fond du Lac for half an hour. Goes back to drive, and he drives until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So again, I just use those little dots to help us remember where we are on the timeline. At 1 o'clock, he's going to take his 30-minute break. So he's going to go up to line number 1, off duty. He connects the lines, spends a half an hour on what is his 30-minute break in Paw Paw, Illinois. Remember, you have to mark your location as well as what you're doing when you change your duty status. He's there for half an hour, goes back down to driving, and then he's going to drive until 5:30 in the afternoon. And he's going to stop in Edwardsville, Illinois to do his post-trip TIV and start his 10-hour break. Again, he's going to put himself back to off duty. He's going to spend a little bit of time, an hour and a half in off duty status. And then, because he has changed the location in his truck and he's actually in the sleeper berth, he's going to move his status down to line number 2, sleeper berth, where he will spend the rest of the night. One of the things we have to keep track of is how many miles we drove each day. And in this case, the total driving miles is entered up there next to the trailer number, and we're going to put in 472 miles for his day. As it turns out, he didn't have a co-driver, so the total truck miles for that day is the same, 472 miles. Now we've got to keep track of how much time we spent on each one of these duty status lines. So on line number 1, we count up the blocks, including the half-hour blocks, and we total it up. In this case, it's 8 hours and 30 minutes. We spent 5 hours in the sleeper berth, and we spent 9 hours and 30 minutes driving. And finally, we spent only a half an hour on each section there, so a total of an hour of on-duty time. And hopefully that always totals up to 24 hours. Now we have to keep track of how many hours of driving and how much on-duty time we have. And in this case, 9 hours and 30 minutes plus an hour equals 10 hours and 30 minutes. In this case, we're going to write it down as a digital equivalent, or 10.5 hours, and circle it. We hope this demonstration has helped you learn about the process of filling out a logbook. Remember, maintaining accurate records isn't just a legal requirement, it's also an essential part of ensuring your safety on the road. As always, remember to subscribe and follow Schneider to get even more truck driving content.